Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and today's video is part of my series of Battleforce assemblies of December 2021, and this video is on the Necron Battleforce called the Worldscour Legion. Today I'm going to be giving you a look at all of the miniatures up close and personal, talking about their assembly options and any difficulties I came across, but in truth, this is one of the more easier ones to put together amongst all of them. Alright, here we are, the Worldscour Legion Battleforce. These are all models that you would have seen before, and they can all come separately, so if you want to add anything to them, that's really straightforward. So we've got two Doomstalkers, which are lovely machines. We've got a Psychomancer. Let's have a look at this Psychomancer. He is a very particular model. This definitely felt like a little puzzle piece to put together, one after the other. Even these pieces down here, everything has a very particular way of being assembled so that you can attach this guy well. And since the assembly guide didn't really show well exactly how he's supposed to look as you're assembling him, I'm going to show you what it basically looks like. And as you can see, these guys have to come up to meet to catch the skull basically in the center. So you need them to be in a particular form, and they're all wiggly when you attach them to the base. But if you have it looking like this, then you're in the right orientation. Some of these pieces flatten as they touch the base. There's a flat edge to them. So if you get all of the flat edges down, then you're good. You'll get it done right. This is a little bit more of a complex piece since it feels like part of him is going to break off at any point. This is what his hand should look like, and his other hand. So there's a particular way that it suggests that you assemble this first piece. The assembly guide has it showing facing the opposite way as this one. I find it much easier to assemble these three pieces together if you have it facing towards you. This is what you're looking for. This right here. Very important. Okay, if you're new to modeling, don't do that first. Don't do that guy first. Do the scarabs. They're the easiest part. You'll find how to build them in the warriors, because the warriors and scarabs generally come in the same box, even though they act as two separate units. The warriors are the push fit models, so they are also pretty straightforward to put together. You will find instances where these arms, you assemble the two arms to the gun first, and then you attach the arms inside his torso, and there will be a couple instances where they don't seem to fit. That's okay. Just hold them until they glue, or put his ribs on to attach them. And then you may need to really push the headpieces together, since the push fit doesn't exactly fit that well, but it's not too bad. You may want to use stakes to attach them. By stakes, I mean you just cut the pegs down a bit so that they're pointed towards the top. Add plastic glue to both ends, and then you'll attach it much easier than if you just leave the pegs as they are. Right, back there. There are both the gauze flare option and the gauze reaper option, so you get a whole bunch of extra gauze reapers. These are the gauze flares, and the gauze reapers are the double ones. You just decide which one that you want to use. I have a whole lot already done as gauze reapers, so I'm grabbing some more as gauze flares. This fellow is the heavy locust destroyer. Comes as a single unit. He has an alternate weapon option and a couple extra stones that you can put in extra stones to fill the holes that in there. They connect here, here, and here. And in this case, back here. So if you wanted to magnetize it, it's a bit more complex. I just suggest magnetizing this arm and this arm to the gun because it attaches at the gun. As I said, those are the connecting points. And then this should slip right in, and this one should attach to this gun because the other gun does not have this option, but it should click right into place. And so it wouldn't be too bad, but that's what he looks like when he's got his exterminator on. There's only one way to assemble him, and he has no extra pieces besides that extra gun and the couple extra stones that you have. These Ophidian destroyers only have one way of assembling. That's it. No extra pieces. One of them has the blades. Reaper blades, is that what they're called? And then the other ones have the lesser damage blades. They look pretty cool. Really remind me of the old-fashioned race. The really old metal ones. I like them. Oh, shoot. And even though that this has a single blade, it doesn't count as anything different. Those were straightforward to put together. No difficulty there. So you could start with the warriors to get yourself started. You could do these guys, which are not actually difficult. The most difficult pieces, the most finicky pieces, which you'll definitely want some tweezers with, are the flayed ones. I'll get to them momentarily. These guys are exactly the same, but they're not difficult to put together. Everything, you follow the assembly guide and you can get it done. They only have one way of going together, and even their terrain. Okay, so this is the terrain as it is normally, but I didn't want them to be exactly the same, so I hacked and slashed it to look like this instead. Just cut it apart and put it down differently. Otherwise, they are exactly the same. And when I put on ground and grass and stuff like that, it will look even more different. Now these guys, they all have a very particular way of assembling. Oh yes, and no extra pieces. From there, you really don't get any extra pieces. You do get extra heads from the Ophidian destroyers. They have 6 heads and you only need 3. You get extra heads from the warriors, and they are the same size as the Ophidian destroyers, so you could certainly put them on just fine, though they the warriors are pegs and the Ophidian destroyers, they were not pegs, but you could put them on, I guess. These guys don't have any extra pieces, really. I got 2 teeny weeny extra pieces because I just didn't put them on. A couple horrifying hands. I'll show them to you in a moment. They only have one way they're very finicky on how you want to assemble them. You do just need to follow the assembly guide. But they have a whole bunch of small fiddly pieces, so just use tweezers to get them on, and probably wait as each piece dries, and pay attention to how the flesh that is on them attaches. If you're paying attention to how the flesh should attach and the fact that it's flesh over metal, then you should be able to get them done correctly. But these are the more complex models of the bunch. Not as complex as some of the other Battleforce models, but for a little troop choice, they're pretty complex. And they all have a particular way of attaching, though you can alter their legs a bit. The legs join at the hip, so I guess you have some room to change them there. The arms want to go a very particular way, though. Funky. This fellow, you may want to keep his arms off because he really covers up his face. The other one's not so much, but this one you might want to put on his arms after. All right, and here are the little teeny pieces of extra hands. I don't know whether they're extra, but I just didn't attach them because the models were complete as is. And I like bits. Yeah. See, a hand that hangs off someone. A little hand that you put on top of something. There you go. Little extra pieces. And that is it. I didn't take long to assemble these guys. A weekend, yeah, a weekend you could probably assemble them. If you're new, it's of course going to take you longer, but these are not too difficult to put together, besides the flayed ones. But you know, the flayed ones, they can look ghastly just fine. A great kit. The points cost is about 770 points, if I'm remembering correctly. A nice addition to the starter kit. If you collected any of those, because you can always use more warriors and scarabs, and flayed ones are nice to try out. Yeah, it's a good kit. Thanks for watching. If you had any questions about the models in the video, or really any Necron recently out in the past couple of years, I have assembled, and there's probably a video on it somewhere, but you can always ask me questions about it in the comments below. Like and subscribe if it was useful to you or you enjoyed it at all, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye! They are big. Imagine these guys would be, I'd be standing up like that tall against these guys. My house is like that tall. Oh man, it's War of the Worlds. Oh, intense.